Hey guys and girls, welcome to Zilla Cabs. Just wanted to make a quick video today to show some of the ways you can set up the Kemper profiler to get the most out of your F12-X200 1x12 cab. A question we get asked a lot is customers really like the sound of their new F12-X200 1x12 cab, but is there anything I can do in the Kemper to get the most out of the cab? There's a couple of options hidden away in the menus that I think are really worth taking a look at. So first thing to say is that today I'm going to be playing through a profile of my Marshall JMP, and this profile is a DI profile, which means that when the profile was captured there was no speaker cabinet attached to the head. And the reason I've done that is so I've got the pure profile of my head, and then I can apply whatever cab I want to after the fact. So in this instance I'm looking at a cab, what have we got? It's a G12M creamback mic'd up with a 421. So plugged straight into the cab. I haven't messed with any of the menus yet. It sounds a little bit like this. So it sounds pretty cool already. It's worth mentioning that we're miking this up with a Shure SM57. So this is a bit of a weird way of miking up a guitar sound essentially. We're sort of getting a mic'd sound coming out of the speaker already and then shoving another mic in front of that again. So it's not an ideal way of miking up a guitar sound, but it's just to show you how things are sounding in the room. So it's a pretty cool starting point there, but I think we can do some things in the menus to get it sounding really rocking. So the first place to go to would be if you hold down the output button on the Kemper, and you scroll over on the page menus until you get to the monitor output EQ. This is like a general EQ that controls everything that's coming out of the power amp output essentially. So any adjustments you make here will colour everything that comes out of the power amp. So what I like to do here is just have a listen to how things are sounding, and then yeah, just adjust like you normally would with an EQ, I suppose. So I think we can afford to dial back a little bit of mids here. Maybe pull back a little bit on the presence as well. Just adding a touch more bass. Just subtle with the bass there, but I think because I've got the cab lifted off the floor in this demo, sometimes that gives the effect of losing a little bit of bottom end when you raise a cab off the floor, so it's nice to just be able to dial that back in. Maybe just a little touch more treble. Hopefully it's coming across that it's sounding a lot more alive now. Cool. So I think that's got that covered. So yeah, once again, that's in. If you hold down the output button and scroll over to the monitor output EQ using the page buttons, and that's where you'll find that. And then those settings, you don't need to store them or save them. They just sort of stay where they are, and they'll affect everything that comes out of the power amp of the Kemper. There's another setting to look at, I think, if we were trying to get some of that feel back that we might be more used to with a real guitar cab compared to one with the F12-X200 in it. And that's a feature called Pure Cabinet, which lives in the cabinet soft button. So if you hold down cabinet, and this fourth knob here becomes the Pure Cabinet control. And what that does is it tries to eliminate what they perceive the microphone element of the sound is. I hope that makes sense. That's a bit of a mouthful for it, but it is essentially trying to, if you imagine the profile contains the amp head, the speaker cabinet, and the microphone in front of the cabinet, that's all sort of baked into the profile, then this knob tries to take away the microphone component of the sound. So just to make it sound a bit more like a cab in the room that you might be used to. So that's another one well worth having a fiddle around with if you're trying to dial in a sound. So that sounds a bit like this. That's without changing the Pure Cabinet at all. And if I dial it in, that's a bit high for me. Sometimes I find if you turn it up too far, you get a little bit too much top end coming out of it. So let's dial that back a little bit. It's quite a subtle effect as well. So. Cool, yeah, I'm really happy with that sound. The Pure Cabinet control is a rig per rig setting, so you want to set it where you like with that particular profile and then save it to that rig, whereas the monitor EQ we were talking about earlier on sort of is an overall setting. This one you want to save it each time. Cool, so I'm really happy with the way that's sounding through our F12-X200 1x12 cab. I'm going to change over now to another 1x12 cab, also with an F12-X200. This will be one of Celestion's designs that we make them, and we'll keep the settings the same, plug in, see what it sounds like, and see what we have to do to get the sound we like out of that one as well. So we switched over now to Celestion's design for 1x12 for the F12-X200 speaker. I haven't changed any of the settings that we dialed in for the previous cab, so let's take a listen to how it's sounding. So I think straight away I'm going to go into the EQ again, the monitor EQ. Maybe just bring back some of the mids that we took away last time. Add a little bit of treble, I think. A bit too much. maybe pull back the presence a bit more. Bit more treble there to counteract for the presence we're taking away. Again, all this stuff's just to taste really, so what I think is good, you might not, but this is what I think sounds pretty cool, so just going to add a little bit more bottom end. Cool, yeah, I'm really happy with that. As you can see, changing between cabs does have a big effect on the sound. So you're going to want to dive into that EQ section, and I think that's the key there really for getting the most out of these speakers with the Kemper. So I'm really happy with the way that's sounding. I hope that video has been helpful for you guys. We're going to have lots more content coming up on the Kemper and the F12-X200. I spent a couple of years touring with the Kemper, and it's something that we use a lot at Zilla, so we're excited to make more content around the amp. Something soon I think we're going to look at is using different power amps with the Kemper, which can be really key to getting a great realistic sound out of it. So yeah, make sure you subscribe, and we'll check in with you soon.